Welcome to Reston's African American Legacy Series. This week, we have a treat for you. Our first guest this week will be Chuck and Joyce Smith. Chuck just became the Outstanding Educator for the Martin Luther King Jr. Cultural Foundation. Our next guest will be someone that you have seen around Reston for many years and who is a volunteer for many things, and I think has a volunteer ethic that many of us could replicate. And her name is Ellen Graves, and she'll be interviewed by Cheryl Fields. Our third guest is a guest of many talents, and it's Enid Stewart, who is a lifelong resident at Reston, and she is a ceramics artist and also a potter. And so we are delighted to have her, and we look forward to having Yulene Bevins and Sandra English interview her. We thank you for joining us here at Reston's African American Legacy Series. And now, my guest today, Joyce and Chuck Smith. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Well, I want to start, Chuck, with you because you have the recent honor of being called an outstanding educator. Now, how do you think that we came to that title for you, and why did the Martin Luther King Jr. Foundation decide to do this for you?
Well, that title came to me because of my work with young people in the Reston, Herndon area. Goes back. I retired from the federal government. I was a research mathematician, and my duties were called upon by several people who were looking for individuals to help their kids in math. And I started with 1 or 2 kids, and then it gradually grew.
Well, now how many children are there, and where do you do this tutoring?
At the present time, I tutor at the high schools, South Lakes High School, Herndon High School, Broad Run High School, and also some of the middle schools, like Hughes.
And are you at some of the churches as well?
Yes, I have a program at Heritage, Fellowship Church, and we also help with the Martin Luther King Academy. There's a math academy, Saturday academy at Martin Luther King.
Is this open to all students?
Yes, it is open to all students in Reston, outside of Reston.
And which grades?
All grades. We are welcoming the participation of younger kids. At first, we worked with high school kids exclusively with SAT, ACT exams, getting them prepared, helping them to pass their Algebra 2 to graduate from high school to go to college. But then we recognized that the elementary school kids is really where it starts.
Well, I think that's what the research shows, that when they start out early, that this is this is where you need to grab them then.
That is correct.
And so this tutoring and this volunteering that you've been doing is something that elevated you to the status of being an outstanding educator?
Yes, I think a number of the programs that I participated in over the years, starting with, I would call it a prison ministry at one time, when high school students got in trouble for whatever, smoking on campus, fighting or whatever, they would incarcerate these kids.
They would incarcerate?
Yes, put them in the detention center down in Fairfax, and they still needed to be educated. And I was asked to go in to work with them while they were incarcerated.
Wow. Well, I didn't know that was going on in Reston. Well, now, Joyce, you've been involved in a number of things as well. You're one of the founders of the Northern Virginia Bridge Club, which is a group of very impressive women.
Yes, yes. We have been together for about 8 to 10 years now. And we play bridge on Thursdays. We meet at the Red Lobster. And
you meet at different places.
We meet at different places. Red Lobster is one place. We also do outreach at the Sunrise Assisted Living and play with the residents that live there. And they're so happy to have us there because they don't get the opportunity to play bridge. And quite often, many of them are much, much better than we are.
Well, I must admit that, you know, I have an interest in this because I'm a member of the Bridge Auxiliary.
Oh, yes.
I don't play bridge, but I go to the lunch.
You do.
And then I leave.
We're
and go
glad
shopping.
to have you.
There are only two of us, Eulene and myself. We're the Bridge Auxiliary.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so we're proud of that.
We're so happy to have you. We remember the luncheon that you attended when we had some of the bridge clubs from a bridge club from South Carolina to come, North Carolina, to come up and play with us.
Yeah,
I remember those shawls that you
they
provided for all the, yes.
You got this great picture.
They were beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
But you know, that's such a, I mean, it's a wonderful spirit in that bridge club. And many of these are retired educators.
Oh, yes.
Retired government workers.
Right.
People who've been around Reston and other parts of Northern Virginia.
Right.
And so, you know, I think it was just a wonderful way to get together.
It's a wonderful way to get together. And of course, there's another group that I'm a founding member of, along with Elma Calvert, and that's the Educators Then, Now, and Forever group, which was started in 2000, and it's a group of retired Black educators. And we started with a small group of about 12, and now we've grown to about 53 in number of retired Black educators. And we started out to support schools. We thought that there was really a lot of, since we're educators, there's a lot of resource that we could offer to schools. So we did volunteer work in a number of the schools in Reston and in Herndon.
Now, how long have you two been in Reston?
44 years.
44 years?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you almost beat Mr. Simon here.
Yeah, almost. We were right behind him.
Okay. So your kids grew up here in Reston?
Yes, it did.
Grew up in Reston.
And you have how many children?
3 children.
3.
And 4 grandchildren.
And 4 grandchildren.
Yes, right.
Wow, that's wonderful. So now Chuck, you are also, are you a founding member of your fraternity? The chapter here?
Yes, the chapter here, OKK chapter. I'm a founding member, and also of the Alexandria chapter, Fairfax chapter. We have 2 chapters there, also founding members of those as well.
Do you want to give the name of this?
Yeah, Psi Alpha Alpha and Rho Phi.
So I just wanted you to make sure you gave a shout out to your fraternity brothers.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah,
particularly the OKK chapter, Omicron Kappa Kappa. That's currently.
What are your colors?
It's Omicron Kappa Kappa OKK.
I mean, what are your colors?
Oh, purple and gold.
Well, why didn't you wear that today?
I'll wear that the next time.
But I don't want to minimize the work that both of you have done, not only in the area of education, but also in churches here. And I know you're at Martin Luther King and you're at Heritage.
Yes, right.
But churches know no boundaries here.
That's correct.
In Reston. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and as a token of what we think of the things that you have done, we'd like to give you just a little gift from Reston's African American Legacy Series.
Well, thank you very much.
You can take that.
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
you having us on. Oh, this is
Wonderful.
terrific.
So
Great.
we just look forward to you doing many things. I will be there to see you as you take your award. And,
Thank you very much.
And I'll be there to see my husband as he takes his as well.
Yes,
Thank
and
you
congratulations to him also.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
we're wonderful people, aren't we?
Yes.
Absolutely. You know, Cheppa and I worked together at Howard for a number of years, and so I'm happy to see him in that role as well.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Cheryl Fields, and I am here with my guest, Ellen Graves, a self-described community activist who has been active in this community for more than 30 years. So, Ellen, let's start by you just explaining how you wound up in Reston.
Well, believe it or not, when I moved to Reston, I knew nothing about Reston. So it was a wonderful fulfilling surprise. But I was moved down. I worked for IBM for many, many years out of New York. And IBM moved me to Reston because my mother was seriously ill, and I was trying to move closer to her.
So what did your friends in New York say? You're moving where?
Well, it was sort of difficult when they came to visit, right? Because I worked at Manassas and Bethesda. And I still sort of have to remind them about Manassas, you know, the Battle of Bull Run, Manassas, right? So kind of get it, right?
Right.
So it was sort of difficult.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
but it was quite a challenge, and I can only say that it's been one of the most rewarding experiences in my life to have moved to Reston.
Wow, that's a pretty
Yeah,
big
yeah.
endorsement. So one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about was the Multicultural Festival, because Reston has a lot of festivals, as we all know, but you had a hand in getting that festival going, and it just celebrated its 14th year, is that right?
Absolutely,
Last
yeah,
month.
yeah.
So talk a little bit about how that festival came about and your role in sort of getting it off the ground.
Well, first I'd like to say thank you so much for inviting me to appear on your show. It's quite an honor.
Well, we are the ones who are honored to have
But
you.
I'm delighted to talk about the Multicultural Festival. We just celebrated our 14th anniversary. And Margaret Boyd, who is a educator, retired educator, has lived in Reston for many, many years. She and I both were involved in the Dr. Martin Luther King birthday celebration. And as a result of that celebration, there was a piece or a component of that program that we allowed individuals from different parts of the world or different countries to come and kind of talk about their experiences, where they came from, their cultural, their ethnic backgrounds. So as a result of that, it was sort of a spin-off. It was sort of a natural to have the Multicultural Festival. So that's how it began 14 years ago, and I'm just amazed that it's been 14 years.
So then when it first started, it happened in February or January, February, and
Well,
then you moved it to the winter months, or how did it?
The Dr. Martin Luther King is, of course, you know, his birthday celebration,
Okay.
but it's always been in the summer.
Okay.
It has always been in September. Sometimes the weather was good and sometimes the weather was not too good, but we still went forth with the festival. But it has really, really grown. It's just not a Reston event. It's sort of become a regional event of Northern Virginia and also the Washington, D.C., and also Maryland. So we have people come from all over. Yeah.
Well, one of the things, I mean, I've gone to the festival over the years, and I've only lived here about 10 years, but the last time I went, which was just a couple weeks ago, I noticed I had never seen the naturalization ceremony that happens, and I was like, wow, this is very, very cool. So tell me when that kind of got
This
embedded into the
really
program.
started 4 years ago, and I
Okay.
think it's one of the highlights, or the I just can't think of the word really to describe how exciting it is to have people who come from different parts of the world, and they're so excited, and it sort of rolls you back to remember why we are so fortunate to live in such a country with so many opportunities for everyone. In fact, the last naturalization ceremony we had 25 individuals from 22 different countries. So it's really become the paramount and very much the highlight of the entire event. And they're all so excited to be sworn in. And the great thing also about them being sworn in, as soon as they're sworn in, then we also sign them up to be eligible to vote, which is so important, because in a lot of countries, as you know, you don't have that ability or eligibility to vote.
Yeah, well, I just thought that was one of the more unique parts about the festival. But tell me what some of your favorite parts about the festival
Well,
are.
I mean, there's so many. I love the naturalization ceremony. I love the entertainment. It's just absolutely fantastic. And when we first started, we had to sort of beg and plead and cry and ask people to participate because, you know, we did not have a record of success.
Right.
But now, after 14 years, people come to us, right? And we vet the entertainment to ensure that we have the appropriate entertainment. And also another component of the festival, I love the doves. We released the doves. I don't know if you were there for that.
Actually, I've missed the doves.
But that's supposed to be of peace, right, and
Right,
love and
right, right.
harmony, right? And they fly over the lake. And the first year we did this, one of the I would be very careful with this word, but one individual was quite concerned about the doves and the weather because it was sort of rainy and cold, and they were afraid that they would be attacked by the hawks or whatever. But those doves are from Prince William, and the individual owner of the company by the time they get home, the doves are waiting for them because they don't have to take $4.95. They fly
the express flight.
They fly. I love the food. I love the entertainment, and I guess the most important thing that I really, really enjoy, I love the fact that people from different cultures, different ethnic groups, they're coming together as one, because we have more in common than we have differences, which is so wonderful.
And I think that that's a part of who you are, your openness to other people and other cultures, and really trying to emphasize that. How does Reston as a community stand out for you in that way compared to other places?
I'm always amazed, Cheryl, even when I go to the supermarket. It's like going to the mini United Nations, right? I see people in a different dress. And that's the other thing about the festival. We ask people to come in their native dress or someone else's native dress, you know. It doesn't really matter. But I think, in fact, Bob Simon, 50 years ago, that was one of the reasons why Reston came about, because he wanted it as an open community. Many interracial couples, as well, you don't know, but in Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, it was illegal to marry a white man to marry a black woman or vice versa. And a lot of individuals, in fact, friends of mine, married in DC because it was legal there. And then after Bob Simon in 1964 decided that Reston was an open community for everyone, right? Then they came to Reston to live. So I think that's so important. I mean, to me, Reston is sort of the apex of how we should live our lives with everyone. Yeah.
Well, and thanks to people like you, the opportunity to experience new cultures is enriched by things like the festival and other activities that you've done. Talk a little bit about some of the other things that you've done. I know you helped to start the coat closet here in Reston. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I was working with Supervisor Hudgens, who's our supervisor.
Yeah, in fact, that's the first time I met you. I remember going in there trying to do something with my mom.
And one very cold day in January, I mean, it was raining, it was snowing, and the wind was blowing. These two gentlemen came into our office because they had been to the Red Cross, they'd been to all of the other avenues that they knew in order to get a warm coat. I mean, they had very thin jackets on, jackets you'd wear like if the temp is like 40 or 50 degrees, right? And they came in, and it just grabbed at my heartstrings to think that anyone in this country would be cold on a day like this. And so I ran out to try to catch them, but I sort of, they had disappeared because I was going to take them to Kmart to buy the coats, right? And so I spoke to Kathy, and as a result of that, Kathy asked me to call Carrie Wilson, it was Reston Interfaith, now it's Cornerstones. And I called Carrie, and as a result of that, we kicked that off. And now that has been such a fulfilling program, not only for individuals in Reston, but you don't even have to live in Reston to get a coat, right? You can be in from anywhere. We don't ask for ID or anything, just that you need a coat. And that's for children, men, women, whoever needs a coat, a warm coat.
We are going to have you back too. We can talk about that and some other things. But for now, I just want to say thank you. Our show has a token that we offer to people who come on, and we'd like to give this to you now.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for your contribution to Reston.
Well, thank you.
Thank you to all of our viewers for learning about Ellen and her work, and we'll have you back again.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been very, very enjoyable. It's always a pleasure to speak and have the opportunity to be in your presence, Cheryl.
We'll have you back. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We are thrilled to have Ms. Enid Sports Stewart as our guest this afternoon. I'm Sandra English, co-hosting with Eulene Bevan, and we'd like to know when you got started for being a ceramic artist. I also noticed that you were in finance before you became an artist.
That's right.
Which is inspiring.
My background is in finance, as you said. My family is a bunch of artists, and I didn't think they made any money, so I said I was not going to be an artist. So I opted to go to school for finance, and I got burned out after about 15 years, and my husband said, take a course in something, pottery, something, just to relax a little bit. So I did. I touched clay, and after that I was just hooked. It was just there's so many things that you can do with clay, sculpting, making pots on the wheel or making them by hand. And there's so much to learn, so I just kept going to school, taking classes.
Okay.
And now I even teach part-time.
Okay. Well, I'd like to know something about the 3 pieces that you have on display,
Yeah.
and tell us something about them.
Okay. Well, pottery is ancient. It's been around for centuries, and most of it was done by hand originally. People made pots by hand. And this is an example of something that was made by hand. It's a pattern that was cut out, and it was just formed into that type of receptacle. These 2 pieces here, I formed them on a potter's wheel, and then the firing process is what makes these different. This, I put vegetation on it, wrapped it in paper, and put it in a pit and fired it overnight. And this other piece here, I put a glaze on it. A glaze is just glass, which is colored. And I put some sculptural embellishments on it and put it into a kiln and fired it very quickly. And this is what came out.
Where do you display your work? Is it in this area?
Some of it's in this area. I display at the Reston Community Center. I displayed at the Reston Museum and at Grace. And I'm a member of the Kiln Club, and I show at the Torpedo Factory at Scope Gallery in Alexandria. And also, well, right now is holiday time, so people are starting to buy all of their gifts, and we have a show coming up at the Colvin Run Mill next Saturday and Sunday.
Do you sell your work?
Yes, I'll be selling some of it there, and I also have some on display at the Reston Community Center, so there's always something that people can come in and buy there. And I'm a member of the Lee Center also, which is another community organization in Arlington, and I show there. I've shown at NIH and at National Airport.
You have a studio at home. Do you
I
work
do.
there most of the time, or do you go other places?
I do. I try to work there as much as I can, but I'm a member of 2 other places, as I said, so every once in a while I have to go over there to use the kilns because it's a different firing process. And my kiln is an electric kiln, so it's a little different. But I enjoy my work. I love it. And I touched clay one day and I said, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and I'm glad I did. So being an artist is, you don't make any money, but it's a joyful thing to do.
So when did you come to Reston?
Oh, about 30 years ago. And I first heard about Reston, but I had no idea I was ever going to move here. I got married. My husband said, and I was being interviewed by one of the agencies, and I said, I don't want to work for these people. You know, I don't want to go to there because I didn't really like Washington D.C. in the area. And he says, well, we're going to Reston. And I said, oh, that new community? And he said, yes. And I love it. I've been here ever since. It's a very supportive, cohesive community.
Yeah, we call you artist in residence.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
But you also had showings in other states, and you have
Yes.
international exposure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I show and sell in Florida, in Sarasota area. I have some of my work. Some of my work is even in Japan. And I lived there when I was a kid and had no idea that I was ever going to get into clay.
Mm-hmm.
A collector bought a couple of my pieces, and I was really flattered because of the fact that the Japanese, as well as the Chinese, are 2 cultures that are famous for their clay. And it was a real honor for me to have somebody to buy my work and take it there.
So I think you were at the Strathmore also?
I was at
Maryland?
Strathmore Hall,
Mhm.
yes, and NIH is another place, and National Airport. I've shown at National Airport too. They have cases as you walk in off of the planes, and there's many artists get the opportunity to put their artwork there, and I was lucky.
So
enough
do
to be
you have
chosen.
anything displayed there now?
Not
Or
right
where?
now, no. It's a revolving show at the airport. I will have a show coming up at the Reston Community Center, which is one of the places where I teach part-time also. And
What do you teach?
I teach clay. I teach hand building, which is, as I said, forming clay without using a wheel, and sculpting. And I also teach teach people how to use the potter's wheel, which for some people can be very daunting, but you keep at it and you do it. It's fun.
Well, I think we are excited about your pieces, about the fact that you're also a sculptor.
Yes.
And that you teach in Reston and are known internationally. And do you have any other things you'd like to say?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
participating. We
Just
are
tell
honored
us
to
when
have
you're
you.
having a display.
November 1st and 2nd, you can come over to Colvin Run. And the 15th and 16th, I'll be at the Lee Center. So those are two places. And then during the holidays, there'll be some others that we'll announce. Reston will have another one.
Oh, that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Oh, thank you.
Yes, here, here. Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us here at Reston's African American Legacy Program. I hope you've enjoyed us, and I hope you tune in again. And if you miss our show on Wednesday and Saturday nights at 7:30 on Channel 28, then you can get us online, Vimeo/RCTV28.com. Our back shows are on there as well as our current shows. Thank you once again for joining us. I'm Laverne Gill. Until the next time.